All right, everybody. My name is Jordan Hawthorne. I am joined, as always, by the marvelous Will Goodwin. Will, we are cramming both shows together as one. My voice, this is the first day that I've been able to speak and actually not sound like a 12-year-old boy who, was just kind of doing this. So I'm finally kind of back, and I am wearing my new Kirk Cousins jersey that I bought in US Bank Stadium and then wore as I watched comeback Kirk eviscerate the Chicago Bears on Sunday. Really good experience with that. It has been a week since we talked, so I can ask you, how was your week and how did you enjoy the game?
It was a good week. Yeah, a lot going on here. Getting the house and everything in the yard ready for winter, which is wild. But yeah, the game was a little more stressful than I would have liked it to be. Honestly, first quarter, early second quarter, I was thinking, all right, finally, here's a game where I can kind of just sit back, relax, and enjoy a second half without having to stress about anything. But the Vikings do what the Vikings do, and they made it interesting, which we can get into a little bit. But hey, it was a fun one. You got to see another Kirk Cousins game-winning drive, so I'm glad you got to see some fireworks there at the end.
Yeah, I'm not. I'll be honest, it was a lot more fun whenever we were just, getting the ball, going down, getting a touchdown, touchdown, touchdown. The defense
Yeah.
looked kind of competent, which we expected it to. But like you said, there was kind of a moment where the Vikings realized what they were doing and they said, hold on, we're not the Buffalo Bills. We don't annihilate people. Come on, Chicago, let's get you back in here. And I actually had some Chicago fans sitting behind me in my seats, and they were talking about how, like, game's not over. We just need to score, get the ball at half, come out and get 7, and then we're right back in it. Then it's a 3 or 4 point game at that point. And so that's exactly how it played out. Greg Joseph, I said I didn't want you to win special teams player of the week. I did not mean just start missing kicks and getting them blocked. Let's just be consistent and make the kicks when called upon. But I'm not slamming the panic button on the Greg Joseph meter or panic meter yet. But the finger is hovering a little bit on my special teams panic. But yeah, what were your biggest takeaways? I think we're gonna try and keep the Bears stuff quick so we can spend a majority on this Dolphins game. But what were your biggest takeaways from this game?
The biggest thing that I probably took away, because the defense did what the defense does. They make it stressful and struggle to put teams away, and then had to make a big play at the end, which they did. That's kind of what they've done the entire season. I think the biggest takeaway that I had was the efficiency that we played with. There were, those 4 drives in the middle of the game where we did not score. But I think if you look back on them, they're not as concerning as I think people were saying. Like, there was a lot of oh my gosh, the offense went dry, the offense couldn't score, what's wrong? I think part of it, and you and I were talking about this, was maybe a little bit of conservative play calling, but I think a big part of it was just circumstantially. So the end of the first half, that's the 4th drive of the game, the first time we didn't score. The Vikings got in field goal range. Joseph missed the kick. It is what it is. It was a long kick, but he's made those before. So to put him in a position to kick a 53-yarder as the horn goes off, I think that's reasonable. You can't expect to get too close every time. And the drive right after half, that one was disappointing in the fact that we got it on the plus side of the field after the onside kick attempt, and then had the field goal blocked. So that was kind of a disappointing drive. But then the next one was that interception, I believe. Maybe there was one in between there. Oh, there was the shanked punt in between there.
Yeah, the shanked. Who could forget the shanked punt?
But anyway, I'm getting too specific here. I think the overall takeaway is that the offense played with a lot more efficiency. The 12 for 15 on 3rd down was beautiful. Something that we've been looking for. I think if I remember the stat correctly, Dustin Baker tweeted out that before the game, the Vikings were like 28th in third down efficiency, and after the game, they were 7th in third down efficiency. That's what happens when you go 12 for 15.
Yeah.
And then also, I think honestly more so was the red zone 4 for 4. That was the piece where people were freaking out. You know, we're not scoring touchdowns in the red zone. This game Sunday, we put the ball in the end zone every time we got inside the 20. So I think the efficiency was probably the biggest positive takeaway. How about on your side? Anything that was maybe a concern or you would have liked to see different?
Yeah, I don't want to get too specific, right? Like like I said, we're gonna try and keep it quick. We got to stop. We're gonna play a lot of fast quarterbacks this season. And we can't let Zadarius Smith be a quarterback spy. He's not built for it. He's taking bad angles. He's too slow. He's good at rushing the passer. I'm not taking anything away from his pass rushing ability. But I do think that whenever we're playing Justin Fields, whenever we play Josh Allen, whenever we play, I'm trying to think of some of the faster quarterbacks that are on the schedule, and those are the two that immediately come to mind. Bailey Zappi, who I'm assuming is going to be playing when we play against the Patriots. I don't think he's that fast. But, like, I would rather see us use DJ Wanham a little bit more, especially whenever you're up 18. And yes, they can still run the ball because it's early, but also, is DJ Wanham that much of a liability in the run game that he is, like, is he that because if he is, we have serious problems. And we need to have some talks with DJ Wanham because I feel like DJ Wanham did bring a bit of speed to the pass rush that was needed in that game to be able to contain a guy like Justin Fields. And I think you saw when Daniil Hunter was dropping back into a spy, it kind of helped contain him. It made him throw the ball. And honestly, the defense looked good for a little bit. The Bears had a lot of drops. I'm still very concerned about this defense. It's terrifying to play, Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and, maybe Teddy Bridgewater. No one knows who's going to play quarterback on Sunday for the Dolphins.
That's actually so the Dolphins announced that Skylar Thompson's starting on Sunday.
They already announced. Okay, so I didn't see that they announced that. I saw the injury report, but okay, so we do know who's starting. I feel a little less good about my skull prediction, but I'm not going to change it. I'm just going to keep it because it. Go ahead.
The Vikings make every game close, so you'll probably be right.
They do, and that's kind of why you're not gonna hear my keyboard tapping away. But yeah, offensively, I will just touch on it really quick. My God, Justin Jefferson, just go off. I just want to point out every week that we have not tracked Justin Jefferson's yards needed to break the record. He's had like 150, and the 2 weeks that I threw that stupid little graphic up there, he had like 50 and then 8 or some stupid stat line like that. So it was like, okay, well, we're just done with that. The QB watch is still going, but other than that, Justin Jefferson continue to go off king. It was really fun doing the gritty up in the stands and just going nuts. And the environment's amazing. I do want to. This will be my last thought on this game. So I was there at this game in person, and my God, Minnesota. What an environment you have created. That was amazing. The skull chant being done about 6 times throughout the game. The camaraderie like just how nice everybody was so cool. I didn't feel like I didn't have anybody, which I get this all the time. If I wore this to work, if I wore my Kirk Cousins jersey into my job, someone would say, "You're a Vikings fan?" I didn't get any of that because I was just surrounded by 65 or 70,000 Vikings fans. I will say this, Chicago fans travel pretty well. There were a lot of them there. But overall, the environment was great. Beautiful stadium, beautiful state. I will say, and I know we hate the Packers, Wisconsin also looked beautiful on the drive through, just especially in the fall. Like, love the northern Midwest. Amazing. Just an amazing experience. Absolutely loved it, and the Viking ship out front was everything I dreamed it to be. But overall, good win. Offense got it done when they needed to. Should have hung 6 more points up if Greg Joseph / the special teams does their jobs. And also, who knows what the defense does if we get an actual punt from Ryan Wright and we don't get a shank plus a hold, giving us a net punt of 5 whole yards. So, Things can change. It's a division game, and most importantly, 3-0 in the division to start the year. That's huge. You're guaranteed to go 500 in the division. That's what you want to do. That's all I have for this game. I'll be ready to move on whenever you feel like you have your closure.
Yeah, just a couple quick things. I've only been to a couple games at US Bank myself, but the environment is fabulous. Even like the snow, like the fake snow that they drop. Yes, it was so
cool.
There's just an element of, I mean, NFL players that can get zoned in or whatever, but there's a level of intimidation that comes from the way that the Vikings do their sort of pregame, their introductions.
The video package is nuts. Like, yeah. I don't remember who exactly is narrating the whole thing, but, him talking about, like, it's time to defend the North. Like, I was getting amped. I was ready to run on the field and start throwing punches at Justin Fields. Like, I was just amped, and then I did, and maybe this wasn't very Minnesotan Northwestern of me. Me, my dad, and my brother did, because we were, like, right above the tunnel where the Bears came out, and so we were those people that were going and waving goodbye to them as they left, which felt pretty good. It feels good to laugh in the face of millionaires.
But the only last thing that I will add about this game that, we kind of talked about the potential of a letdown game. It wasn't really a letdown game or a trap game. It was, we weren't buttoned up, I think the offense was efficient, but apart from that, special teams really struggled, like the week after I praised them profusely and deemed them the best unit on the Vikings and all these things. Also, though, the penalties let the Bears stick around. There weren't any necessarily back-breaking penalties that we committed that took away a touchdown or something. But 95 total penalty yards leading into this game over 4 weeks, and we had 70 penalty yards on Sunday. So you almost double your penalty yardage in one game. So the discipline and the consistency there was no bueno. There were also just a couple things that I didn't love. Maybe some mental mistakes. There was one moment where Cousins rushed up to the line, and you could tell he was audibling. And he audibled with about 3 seconds on the play clock, and then had to snap it really quick. Yeah. And it was a run for no gain. You could tell that the offense wasn't ready for that. Another situation where I would say just take a timeout, take a breath, and then get back up there. And that was actually the play or two before the blocked 50-yard field goal. So that, and there was another one where a small thing, but Wongwu took the ball out of the end zone right before half with about 1:10 or 1:08 left. Not a terrible thing, but he only got up till about the 24-25, so he didn't gain any yardage. And in doing so, he wasted 5 seconds. So a thing where you have to be confident that you're going to make a big return in that situation. Otherwise, you keep the seconds for your offense to get going. But that's nitpicking. Overall, it's a win. I think there's, again, room for improvement. I mean, the national narrative around this team is they're 4-1, but, and again, I mean, after 5 weeks, you take it. So, I mean, that kind of leads us, though, into this strange week going down to Miami, a place that the Vikings haven't won in Miami since 1976. So, I mean, these players weren't even alive yet. The coach wasn't alive yet. So sort of a weird scenario for the Vikings in that regard. But what are your initial thoughts? I mean, I know I just broke the news to you that Skylar Thompson is starting, but what's your initial thoughts or excitement going into this one?
Yeah, I'm gonna try and keep things positive. I'm really excited to see this offense, and I feel like I haven't been able to say that for the last couple of seasons. And eventually this whole, the novelty of actually having, an offense that is, it changes and it's malleable and Kevin O'Connell adjusts it week to week. We'll get used to that. But I'm going to say at least until the bye week, I'm going to let myself just be enamored by holy cow, I'm so excited to watch this offense go out there. Kirk Cousins is and I don't want to talk about the Bears game again, but like I feel like he's playing a little bit more aggressive. Like he threw that interception because he was trying to push the ball down the field, and I'm like, yeah, push it, Coach. Like do it, make the plays happen, man. So like Cousins is going out there, he's balling out. Jefferson and KJ and Adam Thielen. One, I feel like KJ is our wide receiver too at this point. I just legitimately do. Just the way that the targets go, I feel like KJ is getting the ball a lot more than Thielen, but Adam Thielen as a wide receiver 3, he's showed this season, I think, that he still does have some gas in the tank. So, like, I'm just so excited to watch this offense go out there. I didn't even mention my people, the offensive linemen, the chunky boys. Christian Darrisaw is becoming an all-pro left tackle in front of our eyes week to week on your television sets. Brian O'Neill is still one of the top 5 or 6 best right tackles in the league. And Garrett Bradbury is rising up like the Undertaker, WWE style, the dead man, and he's grabbing people by the throats and shoving them back. He's got like a 75 PFF grade this season. This offense is so exciting, and I just covered every piece, so I hope you really brought your CJ Ham takes tonight, because that's about the only thing I didn't talk about. But like, and I do this every week. I talk about all the offense and all the fun and blah, blah, blah. I didn't even say Dalvin Cook's name. So, like, I really am just overarching the offense in general is so exciting to watch. I know the defense stinks. I know we got issues. Well, maybe we'll figure them out. Maybe we won't need to. Maybe Kevin O'Connell will really just slam that foot on the gas, and we'll be like, okay, well, let's see if you can scale 50. Let's see if you can do that. And I want to see the offense get there. I think it will. And so I'm just really excited to see him, man. Again, sorry if I took all of the takes. Feel free. I tried to keep it very vague. Feel free to go more in-depth about, like, position battles and whatnot, because I do have some more in-depth takes, but that's just kind of the outside looking in, I guess.
Yeah, no, I think your perspective is right on, and I think it's kind of where a lot of Vikings fans are, probably at today. I think the defense, as frustrating as it is, they're still at a place where they only allowed, like at most, what's the most points they've allowed? 24. Yeah. So they're still in this weird world of you're gonna be in every game, no matter the Bills game. That's a whole nother story. But you're gonna be in most games because the defense doesn't. They bend and bend and bend, but they don't necessarily break. So. At this point, the Vikings are about middle of the pack when it comes to points allowed. So that's not really the only, defensive stat that matters by any stretch. But in terms of, keeping your team at least roughly in the game, they've been able to do that, I guess. Part of that is because the offense has been eating clock. And, that was one thing about that Bears game. The Vikings had 37 minutes time of possession. You'd like to see those games end a little bit more comfortably, but that's another good aspect of a defense is if you have a really methodic offense that takes a lot of time off the clock. But the things that I'm kind of looking for in this game, maybe most specifically, is you hit on KJ Osborne, Justin Jefferson, the wide receivers. I think this is probably a game where our receivers, do well. Generally speaking, the Dolphins are better against the run, worse against the pass. They're in the bottom tier in terms of pass defense and kind of all the metrics. Yeah. Which is surprising, but they do have both their starting corners have been out a lot of the years. So that probably has something to do with it. The thing that I'm looking for here, I think it's going to be it's going to be passing more than running. At least that's what I would assume this game. So hopefully we see big days from our receivers, and I'll get into a little bit more of that later. One thing that I think is going to be interesting with this game, watching the Dolphins and the Jets on Sunday, is Skylar Thompson. He didn't start, but basically his first start, he played 99% of the snaps after Teddy Bridgewater went out. They're going to most likely get creative. The way I'm kind of thinking about this game is the Dolphins are going to have to go sort of San Francisco 49ers Jimmy Garoppolo to win this game. They have Mike McDaniel from the Niners. They also have Raheem Mostert from the Niners. So it's going to most likely be sort of we need to run the ball, we need to be creative, we need to be tricky. They had an end around to Mostert that I believe was a touchdown on Sunday. They also had a tight end sneak for a touchdown, a la Kansas City Chiefs. So they're going to get creative most likely, especially in the red zone. McDaniel is not going to be asking Thompson to win the game with his arm. That's just not the way it's going to go down. He's not Josh Allen and he's not Justin Fields, but he's shifty. He's mobile-ish. I'd say he's probably like Daniel Jones light when it comes to mobility. So the Vikings will have to contain that as well. So it's going to be interesting, defending a rookie quarterback, third stringer. You don't have much tape on him. It's going to be an interesting game. I don't see him lighting it up by any stretch, but it's not. I mean, just like every game the Vikings play against a mobile quarterback, it's not a foregone conclusion no matter how poor he has played in the past. So
Right.
there's going to be some interesting aspects to watch there from our defense and how we match up against creative offense.
Yeah, I think nothing would be, and this is me just, kind of falling back into my, pessimistic ways, but what would be more Vikings than being a 4-1 team, riding high, being in, top 5, top 10 in all the power rankings, finally getting some respect, and then just getting dunked on by Skylar Thompson in his rookie season at a K-State. Like, what would be more Minnesota Vikings than that? But this is a new era. This is the Kevin O'Connell offense, all that, Justin Jefferson, do the little goodie thing, all that stuff. So I think what I'm looking forward to is I do think that, and this is I guess kind of like a specific match. I agree with what you said about the San Francisco 49ers approach of like throw the ball quickly and make easy throws and then let your talent, Deebo Samuel for the Niners. But then in this case, it's Jalen Waddle, it's Tyreek Hill. I mean, even Mike Gesicki is a really good tight end in my opinion. Let them make something happen with the ball in their hands. So I think what it's really gonna come down to is, hey, how good are we gonna be at tackling this week in the secondary? Because I need Cam Bynum to really, the needle, right? He'll come up, he'll stick you. Cam Bynum live up to it. Not Cam Bynum. Cam Dantzler live up to it. Like, get out there, get your hands on somebody, bring them down, make your plays. Patrick Peterson, I'm afraid of his speed against this offense. I'm not so, if he can, wrap somebody up, I think Patrick Peterson is, he's a veteran. He'll do the dirty work. I just think that, and I said this, I think, last week. I think, or maybe I didn't, but this is a game that I think really favors Ed Donatell's, 10 yards off, hey, keep everything underneath type of game plan.
Yep.
And then, once they get down into the red zone, use the back of the end zone as a 12th defender. And now, make them beat you, make them run the best route they've ever ran, blah, blah, blah. So I think that it's going to be on Cam Bynum. It's going to be on Harrison Smith. Don't let Tyreek Hill get behind you. Don't let Jalen Waddle get behind you. They're very fast. They can do it very easily. And so this whole game to me revolves around defensively on the secondary. It would be great if Danielle Hunter and Zadarius Smith take it over. That would make the secondary look amazing if Skylar Thompson is running for his life all day. But I do think that they're going to get the ball out quick to neutralize that pass rush that the Vikings have. And so it's going to come down to the secondary having to make plays, whether it be in open space or whether it just be, in playing I don't want to say a prevent defense, but just keeping everything in front of you. Keep, bend, don't break, and then maybe make a play or two on a rookie quarterback, make him make some mistakes and do all of that. So I need a big game out of the secondary this week for sure. What's a key matchup that you're looking at?
Yeah, I think the secondary one is a good one to call out. There was one piece in there that I wanted to touch on, is that, with rookie quarterbacks, you want to put pressure in their face. You want to make them uncomfortable. Something that we are going to need to do, though, is if we do bring that pressure, we also need to get up on the wide receivers. Because if Thompson has an easy hot route to Tyreek Hill even if he throws it behind the line of scrimmage and we're not within 10 yards of Tyreek Hill, that could be a 20-yard gain because of how fast and shifty he is. So we have to be able to even make the receivers uncomfortable on those plays when we are going to be blitzing or bringing pressure. I think another interesting matchup is the Dolphins' pass rush is strange. They have the third highest pass rush win rate according to ESPN. So basically what that means is if your defensive linemen or your edge rushers, outside linebackers, whatever, if they beat their offensive lineman, or if they beat the guy who's blocking them within 2.5 seconds, that's considered a win. So they have a over 50% pass rush win rate. However, they only have 9 sacks the entire season, which is 4th worst in the league. So it's this weird conundrum of they win, but they don't get to the quarterback. So that could mean a couple of things. That could mean the opposing quarterbacks are getting the ball out quick. That could mean the Dolphins' defensive backs are poor and they're not able to cover long enough to allow the guys to get a sack. Maybe they're allowing 3-second routes, so it allows the offensive linemen to, even if they lose to the pass rusher, there's still time to get the ball out. It's an interesting sort of conundrum. So that's one that I'm interested in watching, is our above average, strangely, offensive line matching up against we're not sure if they're good defensive line. So that's going to be interesting to watch. The Vikings will need to pass block well, considering how, at least statistically, the Dolphins defend the run well. So the Vikings will have to pass block well if they're gonna come up with a victory on Sunday.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Let's go ahead. Let's do game balls and score predictions and all of the fun stuff, and then let's get out of the people's hair and let them go on living their lives. I'll kick us off. My computer's been trying to skip all night long, so give me 1 second while I get this graphic up. My name is Jordan. I got the Vikings winning this one 34-31. I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't hear the Tua/Teddy not gonna play news until the show started. I throughout the show have kind of been thinking about it. I'm confident in it. It's 34-31. It seems like this is gonna be a game. The Vikings haven't won there in forever. We're going on the road. It's a new regime. It's a new head coach, blah, blah, blah. I feel like all the narratives are kind of working against the Vikings, except for, the Dolphins are kind of banged up right now. So I think the Vikings actually find themselves in a semi-competitive shootout with the Dolphins, but in a similar fashion to the Lions and the Bears, I'm going to say the Vikings and the Saints. The Vikings win a game I don't think they would win last year under Mike Zimmer. They pull it out late. And how about a little bit of a redemption story for Greg the Leg getting down there? Tie ball game, we get the ball back with about a minute to go. Comeback Coke eviscerates the Dolphins going into the bye week. And he just does it again. He just gets another game-winning drive under his belt. And he gets I think he's up to 7 of them now, and we only have 4 wins. It's nuts. He's playing the best ball of his career is what I've heard. So, I think this is going to come down to who gets the ball last. I really do. And I'm hoping that I'm wrong. I'm hoping that this ends up being 34-13, and this graphic looks like I just, flip-flop the numbers. But I want to see the offense do what they did last week. Just keep going. I don't want to see us do foul drives without any points. And that's on special teams too. That's not just the offense. But for game balls, I have defense this week. And I really wanted to pick Cam Bynum for my game ball, but I already did that once this season. So I'm going to go with Harrison Smith because we're playing a rookie quarterback. I think Harrison Smith is going to get used in a role that he's familiar with, where he's going to be coming down in the box, and Skylar Thompson's going to say, oh, he's coming, he's blitzing, and then he's going to drop back right into a quick slant lane and pick a ball up. I think Harrison Smith is going to be a very versatile chess piece in this game, and I'm going to be very excited to see what the Hitman can do in this one. I think he has a big day. I think the Vikings come out on top, 5-1, going into the bye. Let's go. get amped, get hyped, and then take a week off to really just let all the hype sizzle and boil and marinate, and then coming out of the break against I think Arizona. So I know your score prediction. I do not know who your game ball is, although I have a hunch. What do you got for us?
Yeah, so I got 27-20 Vikings. This was one where in my preseason season prediction, I actually took the Dolphins winning this game, but at that time I assumed Tua would be playing. So I believe I have the right to change, given that we are now facing the third string quarterback. So Vikings win 27-20. It's going to be closer than we want, just like Jordan said. I think our defense will give up 20 because that's what they do every week. And the Vikings offense will have some moments where there's a little bit of clunkiness, similar to the Bears game. We're still not quite buttoned up yet. So I think it'll be more comfortable than the Bears win. It's not going to require a game-winning drive. But it's going to be a little closer, a little more nail-biting than I think we'd want. So, but Vikings win 27-20 going into the bye. I teased you, Jordan. So I was saying, earlier this week that my game ball was going to go to one of our players going home. You would guess Dalvin Cook because he's literally from Miami. I'm going with KJ Osborne. He's not from Miami, but he played college football at the University of Miami. And so I think KJ is going to have a big day for a couple of reasons. One, when you go home and you play in the stadium that you played in college for your home stadium, there's just a little bit extra. There's a little bit extra motivation. His family's probably going to be there. He's probably going to have some friends from, maybe not his family, I guess, because they might not live there now, but probably friends from college. He's going to have people in the stadium. There's going to be a little extra motivation. Also, the Dolphins struggle on third down. The Vikings, to win this game, again, they're going to have to be efficient on third down. KJ Osborne is good in clutch moments. I think that Kirk is going to find KJ for some key third down conversions. He might even get a touchdown in this one. So I'm giving the game ball to KJ Osborne. It's going to be a big one. One just quick thing that I love about this Vikings offense, it reminds me a lot of the Rams of last year, is that, it's clear that Jefferson's the favorite target, but Kirk doesn't zero in on Justin Jefferson. Just like Stafford didn't zero in on Cooper Kupp. There's moments where, it's like you need a conversion and you think, oh, he's just going to look to Jefferson, but he finds Thielen streaking over the middle, or he found Irv Smith a couple times on Sunday. There was a conversion to Madison on 3rd and 8 in the red zone that was beautiful. I was watching the game and immediately I saw Madison streak into the flat on the left, and I said out loud to myself in my basement, throw it to Madison, and then threw it to Madison and got the first down. So that's something that I like about this offense, and why I also think that KJ could have a big game, is Kirk obviously loves Jefferson, but he doesn't zero in on him. So that's where I'm going with that. I'm going to throw you a curveball for your final thought. I want you to give sort of what your thoughts are, what your takes are on all this this national hype that the Vikings are getting with power rankings and everything. I think across the sports media world, the Vikings are 4th in the ESPN power rankings and top 10, top 7 most places. Obviously, Pro Football Talk has us about 13 because Mike Florio, but everybody
That's shocking
else,
to me, by the way. I feel like I'm shocked that we're not in the bottom 27 still, and him be like, "Well, they barely beat the Bears and they barely beat the Lions." And I'm Mike Florio. I wear these stupid turtlenecks. But yeah, no, I will gladly answer your question. I think it's warranted, but I feel like that. I think that power rankings, and I love power rankings. They're like my favorite thing to gripe about and get angry about. I think they're fun. They're so stupid. I'm aware of that. I like professional wrestling. I have a professional wrestling belt in my background. It's so stupid, but it's fun. I like it. I feel like the Vikings went 4-1. And so when the power rankings people sat down to do their lists, they were like, I mean, we have to put the Vikings on here, right? They have to be up there. So they all put us high. But then the second we lose, we could lose to the Bills. Like we could not lose a game until the Buffalo game, and we could lose the Buffalo game on a last-second field goal by Buffalo, and that we would immediately plummet to like 17. In my opinion, like they would just be like, got it. We have a reason to put you down because like it's the Vikings. You know, my personal favorite power rankings right now are the Barstool Spouts power rankings. Well, there was a legitimate. It's not really power rankings, but it's like tiers, and one of the tiers is just called Kirk Cousins. And the Vikings aren't in it anymore. They're up in good. Like, even in the quarterback power rankings, Kirk Cousins is no longer in the Kirk Cousins tier. It's like the Kirk Cousins tier, I think it had Aaron Rodgers in it this week. Like, it's just goofy stuff like that. I think they're really fun. I do appreciate whenever the national media talks about us because it lets me hear. I love listening to, like, Sports Talk Radio. And, you know, I love Colin Cowherd. I love Nick Wright. I love all of these, like, national shows. So it's nice whenever the Vikings are doing good and they talk about my favorite. I like hearing them talk about my favorite team. I always have to listen to them talk about the Cowboys and the Patriots and the Packers. And the only time they ever talk about us is whenever the Packers beat Sean Mannion really bad and they talk about how good Green Bay looks. And it's like, yeah, they played Sean Mannion. Like, what do you think they were going to look like? So, I don't know. I'm pretty amped about it. I will give my final thoughts. I am not appalled, but I am shocked. I was so confident texting you about like, oh, yeah, you're going with Dalvin because like you're going home. Like Dalvin's, you know, he went to Florida State, blah, blah, blah. Forgot that KJ went to the U. And so just shocked. I went nuts when you said that. I was like, holy cow. Like, so really, really excited to hear that. We actually have a meeting that we're going to have to run and jump on. As a team here. Final thoughts of the night. Pax from Load the Box Browns currently does have COVID. It is whooping his butt. There is no Load the Box Browns on tonight. Wishing him all the best. T's and P's. I talked to him earlier today. We talk just about every day. He's one of my closest friends. And so, I don't know. I always like to, when I talk into a microphone, and I hope this reaches millions of people. I always like to speak positivity into it. Hope you feel better, buddy. This is a public shout out to you. I hope that you feel better. Other than that, really fun game. We will be back next week for the bye week. Probably talking more generic storylines more than, looking ahead to the Arizona game. And other than that, big skull for me. Will, I'll let you get us out of here.
Awesome. Yeah, and last thing I got, not a whole lot here, is just a quick shout out to my little bro, Danny. He made me this Bad Loser blog T-shirt.
That's nuts.
So I'm repping my own merch. So find me on Twitter, Will Bad Lose, or at the Bad Loser blog. This is all we got this week from Load the Box. Skol, as always.